Hello guys. Now in this video we need to talk about the main reasons to choose SQL Server, and also from these main reasons we need to know exactly for us as system admin what do we need to study in more details, because there are too many parts in here in those 10 reasons that we don't need really to go deep with them. It is for developers most of the time. But for us as a system admin, we need to understand quickly what kind of parts that we need to improve our skills, because we might find them useful in our work as a system admin, and it might be included in our job tasks. So let us see currently SQL Server, what it can deliver to us. Now, as you know, SQL Server is a database for Microsoft. It integrated very well with Windows operating system. We have other type of databases like MySQL, which is open source. We can use it even with Windows, but also we use it with Linux. We have Oracle database, which is also very familiar and famous. But for SQL, let us see now what do we have. SQL, before, when you think about it, too many people, especially admins who they are not developers, who they deal with operating system, servers, etc., they think about a database just as a file, and in that file we have data. But the thing is more complex than that, because if you just compare the Excel sheet with the TXT document, you will find now there is a big difference between them. So what's about the database itself? It is more complicated. For me as a system admin, I need to think about the following, which is very important to me. First, I need to learn how to install the database itself. What are the prerequisites, requirements, and how I'm going to install it. So this is the first step which we need to learn. Now, definitely, when you try to install it, currently SQL Server is not only available on Windows environment, but also available on the cloud, and also available as a container, and also available on Linux. You can install it directly on Linux. So the skills now required is really higher comparing to what we request 10 years ago, because before all what you need to learn is on Windows environment how to install a database, and done. Here you achieve your goal. But now when we come to the era of the cloud, now you need to deal with Azure successfully, know how to do it. What kind of prerequisites? Now we have maybe different prerequisites when you want to install a database on a server comparing to install it on the cloud, because here we start now to deal with container once we reach to the cloud. And also if I have a Linux box in my environment, we might use it just to improve security. So instead of using Microsoft servers, we might start to use a Linux server. Also, it is a free license, I don't need to pay. So by this we cut also the budget and cost, and I need to prepare it, I need to integrate it with my Windows environment. Do I need to use, as an example, Samba server? So the Linux server start to understand how to deal with Active Directory, or there is no need for that. So as you see, all these technical details currently are very important to improve your skills before even start the preparation, and before you start to check what the prerequisite of SQL Server, and then after that, of course, once all of these been achieved, you will be able to install the SQL Server itself. So this is the main thing which we need to learn. Now, the second part, or the second step after we successfully install SQL Server, is relating to security, and it is about network security. If I want to access remotely now to SQL Server, what kind of port do I need to open on my firewall? What if I have two instances of SQL Server? One is a variable in campus itself, and the other one is on the cloud, and I want to create replication between them. Again, what kind of ports and authentication need to be approved so that replication will be in there for 24 hours between the two instances, these kind of things. So the second major important part is what we call it network security. Now the third step is backup and restore. And with this point, I have to learn how to deal with the database itself. The database is really very variable in our environment. Imagine we have, as an example, a database for all citizens in a specific country, and includes information like their ID number, social number, etc. And simply this database is lost. Now, of course, we need to restore it. There is no point to get the documents or all papers of maybe 30, 40 millions and just re-enter them again to the system. We should have a very good backup plan. So in case if we have any problem, then it is very important to restore the database and make sure it's going to run again. And when you put such a plan for backup and restore, jump back to step 1. In step 1, your backup and restore plan is according to what kind of infrastructure you have it in step 1. Do you have only a single server? Do you have a high availability server? Like we use a clustering for that. Do we have a replication between an instance, which is one of them is on a branch office and the other one is in the main office? According to that, you need to have a very successful backup and restore plan to be able to avoid a big disaster that it might happen in case we just simply lost all of data. This is the third step. Now to the fourth step. Now the fourth step is about high availability. Also, it is very important not only to be able to restore a database, we want the server or the database service to be available. We don't want to have a problem like the service is not available for 2 hours or for 2 days because we have a problem and now we need to restore back everything. We need to make sure the data is available for 24 hours because sometimes this kind of work is, maybe it belongs to government agency, it belongs to the Ministry of Defense. So maybe it is very sensitive work that you cannot even tolerate any disconnectivity of service, of course. So that's why it's important to know how to deal with high availability. And high availability here, I just name it a cluster. A cluster, either it is locally by using failover clustering, or it is available on the cloud like Azure Cloud. And Azure Cloud, if you look to the infrastructure, it is just a big scenario of failover cluster again. So the technique is the same. You just need to aware how to use your tool according to where is it. Is it locally available or it is on the cloud? Now the next step is again relating to security. You need to know how to maintain a database security. Here we have now 2 steps with security. Network security, this one is to protect the database from outside, from intruders, people who they don't have enough authorization to access to the database. But what if you are not really aware about what kind of security settings you need to assign to a database and simply you keep everything set to default, or maybe you are the one who's going to make things easier for hackers by provide some weak security settings on your database. That's why also you need to improve your database security level to maintain the level of security you will have it in your environment. And if you want to compare the level of security, which one is more risky, it's of course the kind of data which is being saved in a database, because think about it. If we talk about a bank system, in a bank system we have the information relating to our clients, how much do they have, what is their account number, everything else. So if someone successfully access to the database, now that intruder technically is access to billions of dollars with such intrude. So that's why it's really important to improve the skill in database security. Now the next step, you need to learn a bit of all 10 reasons to choose SQL Server 2019. So if you take a look here in the background, we have all these 10 reasons. I need to learn a bit about each one of these, unless it is belong to one of these 5 steps before, then I need to fully learn it as a system admin. If you want to become like a developer or analyst, then you might need to go fully now with all these 10s. But in that case, you don't need to be aware about network. You don't need to know how to set Windows server, how to integrate it with other servers, how to create a domain controller, because in that case, your main goal is just how to deal with the database and create applications for them. So for us, we have now a full idea about what is the SQL system admin tasks. And we need to continue in the next video, talk about the 10 reasons we have in here to pick SQL Server, just to improve our knowledge a bit about it. And then after that, we need to have in-depth some of advanced information about the main topics that we are interested with. Now you might ask, why do I need to know a bit about these 10 things? Like here we have something called, let me assume, bring AI to your workload. This is when you want to set an environment where the machine can learn through its own experience. You need to aware about it, because when this machine is going to learn by using the database, maybe it's going to learn how to hack something. Who knows exactly what is going to work on? So you as a system admin, you need to predict how the system is going to act, to behave, interact with other network elements, and according to that, set your plan. If I have such scenario, maybe I will put double security standards around it. So if there is any security problem that might happen from inside, there is no intruder, the machine itself will start to act in a strange way. In that case, the security measures which I'm going to surround this machine with are more than enough to stop the machine from doing damage to the network itself. So that's why it's important to at least improve your knowledge to a certain level to know what is going to run on your network. Thanks for watching, and we need to continue our talk about this part in the next video.